Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Post-Conference Presser for Anfield Index. Whether it's the end of the day, the drive time home, the tube trip, whether you're on the other side of the world and you're just starting out, hello to you all. By the way, how good is it to be a Red just now? Top of the league by 6 points. Top that Champions League group stage, and now we're pretty much mapped out. We can see how we could go all the way to the later rounds. And we've got a trip to Anfield South coming up in March as well. That was many of the themes that were discussed with Arne Slot, and as ever on Post-Conference Presser, we'll go through the Q&As that he was asked, that he answered. We'll talk about don't want to be mean to Spurs, but the threats, the lessons learned from last night, so to speak. And again, we won't be cruel. We'll talk about Plymouth and how they're doing. It may just surprise a few people how they're getting on and what you think they are right now. And then I'll give my predicted lineup, score and scorer. So that is the plan as ever for this one. I'm Dave Davies coming to you from a cold, but no one cares because we're all happy, even in Edinburgh, wherever we are in the world. It is the best time to be a Red. But let's get into it, ladies and gents. It's all about, first of all, the questions Arne Slot was asked and the answers that he gave. So the first bit he was asked about was, they need to start that bloody recording on the press conference thing a little bit quicker. But anyway, was asked about, would have a little celebration who would get into the final and the victory last night. And what Arne Slot replied was, yeah, every game we sometimes have a few drinks with a few people, maybe a glass of wine. But because it was late, we went home quite soon after that. Of course they would. Uber professional, Arne Slot and his team, aren't they? There's no two ways about it. You know full well, almost as soon as that final whistle went, he gave the applause, he gave everything needed. And Plymouth was in the thinking straight away. But to our audio listeners who can't see that, that is on the screen there. Liverpool's pin post back to Wembley with the arch lit up red. Yeah. March can't come soon enough, eh? Right, then the next questions he was asked, and I've kind of bandied all these together for you. It's quite important. So there were different bits of the press conference, but I wanted to give you the injuries, team news, all that update together. So he was asked about Trent. Will he be available for Plymouth? He said, no, I don't think so. It's going to be too early for him. And then he was asked about, well, what about the derby? He said, well, we don't play derby counter. He knew exactly what he was doing there, Arne Slot. It's difficult to say exactly. I mean, it definitely won't take weeks or months, as I say. There's only, 3 days after the Plymouth game, so let's wait and see. Also, you have to look at the long term, and I don't want to take any risk with so many games coming up. You get it. I mean, in terms of the context of the season, what we're waiting for, what we're trying to achieve, Trent Alexander-Arnold was never going to play against Plymouth in the first place. This is one of those games that you would have, take away his recent injury, you might just have completely rested him for in your original plan before he got the knock at the weekend. So it's not a concern. The derby does really sound like it's going to be touch and go as well. And this question was asked later about James McConnell, but I wanted to move links to as well. He said, well, James Pearce asked him, you've kept James McConnell around. What's prompted that? Because I think a lot of people expected him to go on loan. He said, well, you've watched the games like me, and from what I see on the train, he's competing with all our other midfielders. And I see a player I like, and I've said he's competing with them all. He always gives everything he has, and Tyler Morton is out with an injury for a few weeks. He was our sixth midfielder, so James now takes that position. It's a combination of him doing really well and Tyler Morton's injury. Now that we know this, and he was asked a follow-up, he said, yeah, it could be a few weeks, even longer for Tyler Morton. I mean, James McConnell's going to start, I bet, good money on Sunday against Plymouth, but I am I'm kind of strangely pleased, just to be clear, not about Tyler Morton's injury, but I like James McConnell. He's got a bit about him. He really has. And yeah, as Jan's saying there, great to hear about McConnell. It really is. No two ways about it, because maybe there's still a bit of uncertainty for me. Where does he get his minutes, bar Plymouth? But I understand now that we know about the Morton injury, why he's kept him around almost as an insurance policy. And he actually said a little bit more about Morton being the sixth midfielder. So, the starting three, Curtis Jones, say a rotational four, if you want to call it that, Harvey Elliott, Endo. Yeah. So I got that. I completely got that now. And then the other bit of day or injury news was around Alisson, who was like, was honest, completely rested. That was the decision that was made. So absolutely brilliant news there. No two ways about it. And fingers crossed, Tyler Morton comes back soon. But I'm really looking forward to seeing James McConnell on Sunday. And just as I said, I've got something I really like about this kid. I don't know how you define it, but whatever it is, he's got it, definitely. He was also then asked about Jamie Carragher's comments around Virgil van Dijk. Now, I don't know if you've seen these at all, so let me just, it's a bit of a, not a lengthy clip, 1 minute 40, but just have a listen here to what Jamie Carragher says specifically about Virgil van Dijk after the game on Sky.
I think when I watch Van Dijk, and I have done now for 7 years or something, he's been at Liverpool. When you think of the Premier League, I think we'd all agree it's probably the best league in the world. And then you've got Champions League football. That's the highest level. I think that's higher than international football, World Cups and Euros. He's too good for the highest level of football. If you know what I mean, it's almost like still too easy for him. It almost feels like there should be another level above that for Van Dijk, because he plays the game with such ease that it's like the biggest games coming up. I watch him here against Haaland. And Haaland's the best goal scorer around, a big, powerful lad, got pace. And it's like, it doesn't even feel like he's trying.
He plays everything at his pace. He plays everything at his pace.
I'm trying to think what level of football is there where he's actually look what he's at. He'd have to go to ground and make a block or really spin.
Yeah, so Carragher waxing lyrical, maybe trying to be friends with Virgil van Dijk again or work his way back into his good books. But interestingly, Arne clocked that and said, when he was asked about this clip, said, they're friends again, are they? Virgil deserves every compliment. He's been outstanding for the club for many years. And since he's been here, he's been outstanding for me as well. Yesterday was an example of that. He was also aggressive and led the team in the right way without the ball. With the ball, we all know what he can do. And he was sharp and ready. It's not a coincidence it took 80 minutes before they had their first shot on target. He wants, like all the others, to have a great season. Not just like all the others. That will probably be the only bit of that quote I disagree with, but in the best way. Because Virgil van Dijk is driving them on to a higher level, isn't he? Virgil van Dijk is the Colossus. Virgil van Dijk is the leader in this team. And I actually get what Carragher's saying at times. There's bits where he is just almost too good. We've actually seen him this season shepherd Erling Haaland around practically in his slippers. Yeah, honestly, I don't know what Virgil van Dijk's training regime or his sort of methods are exactly. All we know officially is he's on record as saying this, that he actually hates the gym. But when you look at Virgil van Dijk or when you see what he does, he's a magnificent specimen, isn't he? Prime masculinity, the whole lot, but intelligent, a leader. There's just almost not enough words to sum up how good Virgil van Dijk is. It's not even a debate. It's him and Mo Salah in the running for the Player of the Year. Might just be who finishes stronger out the two of them. They can't even see the third place nominee, who will probably, whoever it is, have had a great season. But yeah, just absolutely elite. No two ways about it. The other bit to mention is that Arne Slot got asked about Conor Bradley. And Conor Bradley, what words about, how he blows my mind, still gives that nice air of a young lad who's just enjoying himself. But he was asked about Conor Bradley specifically. What do you say to him? How to treat him at this type of thing? And he said, first of all, I tell him, don't lose the ball. And that's a good thing. He still has to understand when to make that run. That was what led to the 3-0. And it's a good choice. As if Maka had the ball, I would make the run as well. Because a teammate like that, there's a fair chance he will find the perfect pass. It's about timing. And if the ball is open, it's a perfect time to start his run. Of course, we also have Virgil and Ibu, the other fullbacks behind him. So if we do lose the ball, it's not like there's no defenders left there anymore. And completely agree with that still learning Conor Bradley, but he's learning on the job and he is learning rapidly, isn't he? That this was an interesting question. I did just want to play you like I normally do from the press conference. I won't even sort of introduce it. Let's just have a listen to what the journo said and what Slot joked back.
Very happy with Conor's performances when he's played. If Trent Alexander-Arnold were to be injured for a long time, or if he were to leave the club, is Conor Bradley good enough to be your first choice regular right back?
He would be proud of you that you come up with a different idea of asking this question. I think it's fair to say that for many positions we have two very good players. So that's for the right fullback position. For the left fullback position, we've got more than two good centre backs, and I can go up through the whole team telling you this. So it's also normal if you work at a club of this magnitude and that wants to compete for every trophy that you have more than 11 good players. And right fullback position is definitely an example of that.
Love that. Just the way he doesn't dismiss it. That would be a wrong statement, but just the way he answers it, and almost like, I've spotted your trap. Your mate will be proud of you for trying that and obviously trying to get in towards Trent's future. But Conor Bradley last night was brilliant. And maybe one of the highlights there was Son getting the Mbappe treatment. That was brilliant, wasn't it? And he does it with, there's just no fear almost in Conor Bradley in the way he plays. And even the assist, it's a lovely weighted ball from McAllister to him, and it's a lovely weighted ball from Conor Bradley into Szoboszlai. That means he can just have the touch and put it in the corner, doesn't it? There's just a fluency to that move. He's not just up and down like an athlete. There's a quality to him, and you just think if he was to play regularly, and who knows what the future holds, yeah, we'll see how he develops. DPS, they're saying, yeah, Bradley is such a great fullback. Complete that. If Trent decides it is time to leave, I'm not as worried as I'd be if VVD or Mo left. I kind of agree with that, to be honest. In truth, Trent's special. Trent's an outlier. He's unique. His attributes are just different to everyone else, so it's difficult to compare them. The one thing I do wonder is when you look at the profile of Conor Bradley, is he more of an Arne Slot fullback, as in the way he plays, how Slot would normally, traditionally, if you want, like hit his right-sided fullback, underlap at times, come inside as Salah moves out. I just get the feeling from what we've been told from his Feyenoord days, that may be the case. Just to be clear, though, at the same time, I have zero doubt Arne Slot is desperate, like all of us, for Trent to say. But if he doesn't, so be it. Now, moving on to the next bit, he was asked about the Villa game and the change in the schedule. So he said, well, we want to be competing for every single trophy in every competition. We must not complain about the amount of games we have to play. I don't see an advantage or a disadvantage. It is what it is. If you are a club that has to play so many games, then to go to a game with 20 players can be something. If I had 23 players yesterday, I could have had Trey and Rio in the squad, and it would have been an ideal chance for them to get a bit of playing time, but I could only bring 20. If you look at the long-term football in England, it's ideal to go to 23, and don't tell me it's a disadvantage of the smaller clubs, as I have 9 fantastic substitutes already if I have 20. It's more giving chances to younger players as well. If we go to 23, like the rest of Europe. It's a funny one, this, because it started with a chat about the Villa game and the schedule, and kind of nicely navigated away by Arne Slot to talk about 23-man squads and the fact in England we only use 20. So it's an interesting one all round. I mean, the first bit, it's not an advantage or a disadvantage. It's a huge 5 games coming up in the month. I mean, look at this. Just massive. Wednesday, the 12th of February, Everton away. Sunday, the 16th of February, Wolves at home. Wednesday, the 19th of February, Villa away. Sunday, the 23rd of February, City away. Wednesday, the 26th of February, Newcastle at home. 5 league games before the end of the month. A jam-packed schedule. Such is the price of success, isn't it? The more successful you are, the more games you will play. And as he said, it's not an advantage or a disadvantage. I can see quite a bit on social media with people saying, that there's tough and you'll need a bit of luck. No doubt. You're going to need luck in terms of injury, how things play out in these games. Zero about that. However, may now just be the great time to play them. There's only Trent Alexander-Arnold who's injured at the moment, and he sounds very close to a comeback. So it's pretty much a fully fit squad that Arne Slot has got to pick from. The elite players, the Van Dijks, the Salahs, all these type of players, they seem to be in top-notch form. Is now not the time to say, bring on your every motherfunker type of thing, like the derby, City away. And also, when you look at these fixtures, City play Real before that one. Remember on the Wednesday night, we're playing Villa. I think it is the Wednesday night. It's the second leg in Madrid. Yeah? Everton have got a game before as well, like us for the midweek. They've got the FA Cup. Yeah? Newcastle, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't give. You just wonder, because it's so late in February, do their players already start to cast their eye to the Carabao Cup final? So maybe, just maybe, it doesn't look that bad. And as for the 23-man squad thing, I addressed that last week. It's logical. And if the way you've picked it up makes it sound like he was, banging on with passion, or sometimes did, it wasn't that from Slot at all. Not that Jurgen did it wrong in any way, just to be clear. He always came from a player's health and their welfare perspective. Slot, similar. Just say, let's move it in line with the rest of Europe before. Just be warned, people will clip that and read into that a lot. But yeah, we will see what the rest of February brings. And then the final bit he was asked that's worth calling out, Darwin Núñez. I mean, he was part of the domination of this game. He worked tirelessly, didn't he? And he was asked about his link-up play by Lewis Steele of the Daily Mail, so shout out to him. He said, yeah, it's better indeed. I think in general, we use the number 9 better and better than we did in the beginning of the season. That is the positive thing of playing more games, and it's worth highlighting this. In the beginning of the season, we were quite dependent on our wingers. We are starting to use our 9 more and more, and we're putting these players in promising positions. They have just as much quality as our wingers. And if you put them in that position, they'll give you goals and assists. I thought Darwin was brilliant last night. I really did. You almost expect him now just to run his heart out. It'll be interesting to see what anyone thinks here in the comments here about Darwin Núñez. But he did run his heart out. His link play, like Lewis Steele highlighted, though, was really good. Tottenham struggled to sort of get to grips with him. He did go out wide. He did drop it sort of into the channels at times. Sometimes he even came deeper. And more importantly, the 2 big things that he did, he pressed when we lost the ball. Did you see he almost did cover runs for midfielders driving forward, or if Mo lost it, I saw him chase it almost back for Mo a few times. 4 defensive clearances. Now, as I'm saying this, I am not pretending he's anything like the same player. But these are a lot of the things we would praise Bobby Firmino back in the day, wouldn't it? For being a team player, for the sacrificing for the team, for the link play. I understand they're completely different, but there are elements there that are similar. So I do think it is right. I do think it was good that Darwin got a little bit of praise in this game. For me, that was really positive to hear. Well, that naturally brings us to last night and talking about what we learn from this one, because we always talk about the games and what we learned. What we learned was Liverpool are a brilliant team. Liverpool are the best team in the land by far. And when Liverpool turn it on, the likes of Spurs just can't do anything. Spurs don't have a shot on target for 80 minutes. And I know there was all that Sky narrative nonsense about, oh, they could do better. Nonsense. Liverpool choked the life out of Spurs from minute one. They pressed better than them. They worked harder than them. Their quality is far, far higher than Spurs. Liverpool have got elite players playing at the absolute top of their game. This is a period. And yes, there is a long time ago in the season. Yes, injuries, things can happen. I totally get that. But you sometimes just have to enjoy performances like last night. It was just that special. Red for life, yeah, phrased it brilliantly then. It was like the old men versus boys. There was a small bit of me, a very small bit of me, did feel a teeny bit sorry for Spurs. But then you remember Luis Diaz, VAR and Ange and all those types of things. So it's kind of quite funny in a way, isn't it, realistically? The second big takeaway for me, the lesson, I'd already done it, but shout out for Darwin. It just looks like in the last month or so, and we've been here before when we've had a good couple of weeks with Darwin and we go back, and I know we sometimes ride that wave with his performances, but it showed again for me, he can have an impact till the end of the season. When you need to call upon him, he can have an impact. And sometimes that comes up quite a bit because let's be honest, Jota's injury record, Luis Diaz, I feel it's hard to analyse at the moment because he's not playing in his natural left wing position. But there is maybe a chance for Darwin to get a few games in that central role. And if he can keep this link up almost with Salah and the importance in the team, I do just feel there's a chance. Hey, as I'm saying this, there's been many false dawns for Núñez, so we will see. And the final thing about this game, it was just a confirmation. Clean sheets are back. Like, it feels like the start of the season when Ibu, Virgil are playing at their top level, when Alisson's there, you know, when Grav and everything's flowing, clean sheets follow. It's no coincidence. In fact, the only game we don't keep a clean sheet is that Ipswich one where we use 4-foot Harvey Elliott to mark that giant centre-half of theirs, and it's a soft goal. But clean sheets are now a routine, and it's great to be in that habit. It really is. Yeah, red for life, they're saying. Four-headed clearances from Darwin. It is important to point all that out, things that we've praised other players for. We need to be balanced. The criticism needs to be as loud as the praise for Darwin at the moment. It doesn't mean he's going to be a mainstay, a crucial player, but it does show he can have an impact at the right time. So yeah, plenty of lessons. So much to like from that Spurs game. I mean, if you can't be happy now as a Liverpool fan with this and everything you're seeing, I can't really help you too much more. But yeah, so much to like. Now this one, and I want to be respectful about this game, Plymouth. It's easy to just look at the table and go, bottom of the championship, they'll be horrendous. You look at, they've only scored 29 goals and they've conceded 63. So on the surface, it should be easy. But it's their cup final, as Arne alluded to, number one. Number two, they're actually in a little bit of form right now. If you look at their two recent results, drawing away at Sunderland coming back and a late winner against West Brom at home. So a new manager's come in to replace Wayne Rooney. So you may not remember that Rooney's been in charge, but now he's going back to the overlap to do another exclusive with fucking, Jesper Blonkers, Ronnie Johnson, David May, another sequence of, what was it like under Fergie type of interview is coming up. But they've actually looked, I can't remember the name of the manager, I'm not going to pretend, but their new head coach, looks like he's starting to do a good job. And if you look on a few of the Plymouth fan sites, they are quite praising of him. So this isn't just an absolute give me. Just that. They seem to be in decent form. They've picked up a little bit. Plymouth players you may know as well. Again, I'm not going to pretend my championship knowledge is great, but Andre Gray, former Watford, former Burnley, I think someone I saw on a thing is dating or married to one of Little Mix. So there you go. I don't really know that type of thing, but I found that out today. So not too many famous sort of faces there, but Plymouth away on the coast is not going to be a straightforward give me. They will be looking to fight and make a game of this. Fortunately, in the final bit, line up score and scorers, so will many of ours. Because the squad is so strong and the availability is the highest it's been since I can't remember when, the strength of the team we can name, it would be easy just to go, it's PSV team. Well, Jayden Danns has gone for a start. And, well, he's injured. He's set to go on loan to Sunderland, isn't he, when that's done? And there's players who need a game. So if you think about the back line, this is what I'm going for. And feel free to comment if you disagree. I think Kelleher will start again. If you don't play Alisson in the semi, I don't see why you risk him in this. In the back, Gomez right back, Quansah, Endo, Mikas. Yeah, I'll stick with that. I still swither on a few, probably like you, but that's a strong back line, isn't it? Yeah, if you had that in the championship, you'd win the title. Let's be honest. It's still Joe Gomez needs the minute, so I think he'll go right back. In the middle, now it gets a little bit tougher. I just think Jones, Elliott, McConnell. Joe, that's where I'm going for. And in the forward line, Diaz left, Jota in the middle, and Chiesa on the right. It's a bit strange for Chiesa because he made that 90 minutes, which was brilliant in PSV. Yeah, he was out the next squad, which you understand, but then he's not had a minute like in the Carabao. So you think they need to get his minutes back up in that regard. But that is the forward line I'm going for. And Diaz, Jota, Chiesa, that's what the Plymouth fans will be hoping for. That's what they'll be looking for, some stars there. That I do think it will be a strong side for this. Which leaves for predictions, score and scorer. 3-1, Jota to get scoring again, because he is one I'd like to get on the score sheet. You only get so many games from Diogo Jota a season. I always worry when you spend them, shall we say, on an Accrington or you spend them on a Plymouth. Are you really making top value out of them? But listen, it's not like we can criticise Slot at all in this regard. But there you go. 3-1 is my Sunday, 3 o'clock. It is on terrestrial TV, quite a few others, so plenty to keep an eye on. But, ladies and gents, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your trip home if you're listening to this. Enjoy whatever's coming up. That was another post-conference presser.